early rally in, I don't know, Athens or somewhere. It was early. It was like the first week. And yeah, there's a couple hundred people there. Pence was there. And Perdue got up to speak, and this chant started. It's the first time I heard it. Fight for Trump, fight for Trump, fight for Trump. And it went on for 5 minutes, and Perdue refused to address it. He just waited till it stopped and then continued on with his speech. And so they were tone deaf. They never got it.
All right, John. Well, if you want to get going, and I know you got other things to do, let's kind of talk about why we're here, and then I'm going to record this, and we're going to post it later for a lot of people to watch. People are saying they couldn't make the 5:30 time, but let's jump into it. First of all, John, thank you so much for being here.
Well, Tim, thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity to have a conversation with some of your supporters and followers. I really appreciate it. My name is John Fredericks. I'm a radio talk show host. I was also chairman of the Virginia Trump campaign in both 2016 and 2020, and I've been in Georgia for the last 8 weeks. The reason why I was so excited, Tim Anderson, to come on your call is very simple. In this period, in this very difficult period that we are in, we need people of action. Action, action, action. We're tired of talk. We're tired of losing. We're tired of mamby-pamby nonsense. We're tired of candidates that don't knock on doors, that take our vote for granted. Quite frankly, we're sick of what I call the pina colada Republicans. Do you know that during this most trying time this week, folks, where we had the January 6th meeting at the Capitol, trying to get states to the vice president to maybe look at flipping these back to the states, some of them, get the evidence out, a runoff in Georgia that determined the direction of the country and control the Senate. Do you know that the Republican National Committee, you know what they did? They scheduled a 5-day retreat junket from Sunday to Thursday of this week at Amelia Island. So basically, they had the entire team there, all the state committee men, all the state committee women, drinking pina coladas and margaritas while Rome burns. If that's the kind of leadership that you want, then Tim Anderson's not your guy. If you want a different kind of Republican who is going to help build this party, who is going to beat Nancy Guy, then out of the ashes shall rise the phoenix. We're done with the surrender caucus. We're done with people that collaborate with other Democrats and are happy losing and being in the minority. I mean, if you're happy with that, then Tim's not really your candidate. But if you want somebody that gets things done, I have watched this man now for a year. All he does is get things done. He files lawsuits. He files against Louise Lucas, one of the most powerful politicians in the history of Virginia. She files a $20 million defamation suit against him. He's now fighting that. He went and filed so that we could have access and transparency to the General Assembly, the People's House, the oldest one in America. It goes on and on and on and on. And so I personally can't wait to get up every day. One of the first things I do is go to Tim's Facebook, Tim Anderson's Facebook page, because it's like, what is he going to do today? So the guy is a very special candidate. I am so excited, Tim, that you're running for the House of Delegates, and with everybody's help, you're going to be able to win this race. Now you're going to have to overcome, a legacy family with a great name that's done a lot for Virginia, and so it's not going to be an easy race. You're going to have to raise money. I know you're not going to get outworked, but if you want to beat Nancy Guy and you want to win, Tim Anderson's the guy to do that. If you want somebody that's going to ask you for money, come to a $5,000 fundraiser, but then not knock on a single door, then Tim's not your guy. There's another candidate out there who got beat who can do that for you. I'm for Tim Anderson because we need a new party. We need a new vision. We need new leaderships. And as I said, this movement, our Trump movement, the deplorables, whatever you want to call them, they're woke. We're woke now. And the movement has eclipsed its current leadership. I don't know why you would go back to another candidate that got beat by 27 votes and did knock on a single door. I don't know why you would go back to that. I like Chris Stolle, great guy. I love the family. I love his sister. Love them all. But I want Tim Anderson, and you should too, if you want to win, and then you want to actually get things done.
Well, thank you so much, John. That's phenomenal endorsement. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. I'm so glad to be our friendship. You know, some of the coolest things about my steps in getting sued by Louise Lucas and suing the Speaker of the House is I've been able to connect with people that I probably would never have done before, and you're one of those guys. So you are definitely a light in a very, very dark room. And, you know, there's not a ton of people on this Zoom call, but what we'll do is we'll publish this on our Facebook, and 30 or 50,000 people will watch it over the next 24 hours. And so I think it's super important. John, just for people watching, because a lot of people are going to be interested in what you have to say. And I know we just talked about this a little bit prior to the call starting, but what's next for the Republican Party? I mean, I know I'm obviously trying to run and make a difference in the House of Delegates, but what do we say to Republicans on January 7th that are waking up? The president's definitely not going to be the president again. There's no other question about that. Joe Biden is our next president. We have the Senate now is going to be controlled. The House is controlled. What do we say to Republicans? What's the next thing we have to do to start winning again?
Out of the ashes shall rise the phoenix. We have a movement that is bigger and stronger and more vibrant than ever. We are now woke, and we're coming. We're coming. We're coming because we understand how we got cheated out of this election. We understand how the system works. We now understand what the other party does, what the liberals do, and the left does. We understand it. And so we are bigger and more vibrant than ever. And so we need to do a couple of things. Number one, we got to take over General Assemblies, starting in Virginia. We got to take over chambers so that we can have election law reform. That is the first thing we have to do. Because if they're allowed to keep stealing elections, it doesn't matter what we do, right? You have to have election reform. So there's not voter season, there's not election season, there's election day. So we don't flood the zone with mail-out ballots that end up on the counter Starbucks, as I saw in Fulton County getting a cup of coffee 2 weeks ago. I get a cup of coffee, there's live ballots sitting there on the counter. They just flood the zone with them. These are the reforms we have. The first thing we have to do is take over General Assemblies and get real voter reform so that votes are legitimate and meaningful and you can't steal it again. Second thing we have to do is primary the rhinos and those that are in power as Republicans that take us for granted, that don't care about us, that as soon as they win and they get our vote and they get our money, they go up to Goldman Sachs, they have cocktail parties on the roof, they eat caviar, and they spend your money. If that's the kind of Republicans that you want, Tim Anderson is not your guy. He's our guy because he's not going to do that. There's a pathway forward, and we have a movement to do that. Trump got 75 million votes. Where'd they come from? Do you think Biden got 80 million staying in his basement? I don't believe so. But here's what we do know. Trump got at least 75 million votes. That's a lot of people. And you got 1 million people at that rally yesterday. I don't condone what happened. It was shameful. But you got 1 million people out there on about 5 days' notice. Here's what we have that they don't have. They have money and they have power. Here's what we have. We have speed and we have people. Speed and people. We've got the numbers. They've got the money. I'll bet on the numbers. That's why if you help Tim Anderson and you can help him be competitive in this race, give him a few dollars here and there. If you can do that, Tim is going to be the nominee, and Tim is going to beat Nancy Guy, and he's going to be an agent of change for a new majority in Virginia so we can end once and for all this liberal left-wing crackpot reign of caucus of the corn.
Hey, John, I've got a quick question for you. How do we beat the media?
Well, you know what? You have to work within the confines of what we have. So you've got my platform and my radio show. You've got Steve Bannon on War Room. You've got other things. If we focus on what the media does to us, it's a losing strategy. So we have to find our other ways to get our message out and go beyond them. That's why personally, I invested in the newspaper in Virginia and I started the Virginia Star. Go to thevirginiastar.com. We need platforms of our own that are not dependent on Google or the other big tech companies to be able to get the word out. And so these are going to pop up. Now there's some that come up on the right and they're basically nonsense and clickbait, but we're going to continue to grow legitimate outlets, and there's going to be a shakeout of politicians and media. That's a result of the greatest steal in history that went on. Look, I can't talk to Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Arizona, but I've been in Georgia for 8 weeks and I can talk to Georgia. And let me tell you that the fraud, I don't mean Stacey Abrams running rings around feckless Republicans. I mean the fraud that went on in Georgia is beyond the pale and scope of everything that I could ever imagine could happen in a state in this country. Eventually, it's going to come out. It's going to come out over time. It's not going to affect January 20th. That's gone. We get it. Purdue and Lafleur got beat. I understand, but it's going to come out. And the Georgia General Assembly is the first line of defense. They're Republican, and their first mission is go there on Monday and change the rules, because each General Assembly, by Constitution in a state, they control the voting laws. So they have to change the laws so this doesn't happen again. And we can do that in Georgia. We can get control of Virginia. We can do it in Virginia. We can do it in Pennsylvania. We can do it in Arizona. We can do it in every single state that we have an opportunity to gain control of the state General Assembly.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. I think your message is clear. I mean, we hear that all the time. How do you beat the media at their own game? And I said this just the other day over the weekend. I said, when you're fighting with the Virginia Attorney General, they're going to put you in federal court, which is their ball field, and you got to play in their field. And I think you're right. In order to beat the media, you have to beat them at their own game. And you have to give conservatives a voice of how to get information. And it shouldn't be getting their information from sites that are completely liberal. And I don't know if y'all have seen the Virginia Star, but it's well done. The reporters cover the stories. It's current events. They're on top of it. It's very well done. And I'm very thankful to have that as my primary news source for sure. And it's only getting better. John, you started that newspaper, 3 months ago? And it's only getting better every day.
Well, and you mentioned federal, the federal court that you had to go in. You had to play on their turf, on their ball game. Mark Herring's has his best lawyers there, and you had to deal with that. And you went in there and you beat him, because you know what? The truth will set you free. Facts are stubborn things. You presented facts. You had the truth, and you had a ruling in your favor, and you beat the machine on their home turf. That's why I need you. We need you. Virginia needs you. Your district needs you in the House of Delegates in Virginia. Tim Anderson, send him a check, sign up for his campaign, vote for him, knock on doors. Let's get out there. We need Tim Anderson. He's going to make a difference.
Thanks, John. And thank you guys all for being on this call. Have a great evening. We'll post this on Facebook. And if you could, for those of you on the call, please share it on your Facebook to your friends so other people can see John's very, very wise words, hopefully very prophetic words, John. I'm looking forward to 2021 starting to win. Virginia is important because this is an off year. We don't see a lot of elections in 2021. So if we start winning in Virginia, we'll start seeing, hopefully that will transition into the 22 time period. So
Tim,
thanks everybody for being here. Go ahead.
Tim, can I close with just one sentence? One person with courage makes a majority. That's Tim Anderson.
Well,
thank you, Tim, for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Tim. We're with you.
Thank you.